Hello everyone and welcome to the lecture on AWS Well Architected Framework. So introduction to AWS Well Architected Framework. Number 1. It identifies pros and cons of AWS decisions. The framework aids in understanding the implications of decisions made while building on AWS, guiding towards informed choices. 2. Teaches architectural best practices. It enlightens on designing and operating secure, reliable, efficient, cost-effective and sustainable workloads in the cloud. 3. It provides a consistent evaluation measure, offers a standard for measuring architecture against best practices, pinpointing improvement areas. 4th, facilitates constructive architectural conversations. The review process encourages decisions on architectural decisions rather than on being on audit, fostering growth and learning. 5th, aims for business success through well-architected systems. It emphasizes that well-architected systems significantly boost the likelihood of achieving business objectives. 6th, it offers best practices and core strategies from experienced architects. Solution architects contribute their vast experience presenting tried and true strategies for cloud system architecture. Number 7, it ensures alignment with cloud best practices. It is constantly updated to reflect AWS evolution and customer feedback, ensuring architectures remain aligned with the highest cloud standards. So the 6 pillars of AWS Well Architected Framework. So it is built on 6 core pillars. So we'll see all those pillars one by one. First one, operational excellence. It focuses on running and monitoring systems to deliver business value and continually improving processes and procedures. Second pillar, security. It emphasizes protecting data, systems and assets to improve security posture using cloud technologies. Number 3, reliability. It involves ensuring workload performance is intended as intended and it functions correctly and consistently, including operational and testing capabilities through its life cycle. 4th, performance efficiency. The ability to use computing resources efficiently, maintaining efficiency as demand changes and technologies evolve. 5th, cost optimization. Running systems to deliver business value at the lowest price point. 6th, sustainability. Focuses on improving sustainability impacts by reducing energy consumption and increasing efficiency, thereby minimizing the total resources required. Okay, understanding AWS Well Architected Framework terms. So we'll go through some of the terms. First one, component. It describes the building blocks of a system, including the code, configuration, and AWS resources, emphasizing the technical ownership and decoupling. Second, workload. Refers to the combination of components that together serve a business purpose, representing the level of detail discussed by the leaders. Third one, architecture. The setup, interaction of components within a workload, focusing on communication and interaction patterns. 4th, milestones. Significant points of change or evolution in architecture throughout the product's lifecycle stages. 5th one, technology portfolio. The total set of workloads an organization operates to ensure business functionality. And 6th, level of effort. It categorizes tasks based on the required time, effort and complexity, factoring in team size and expertise for accurate assessment. So there are few categories. High. It encompasses tasks that may extend over several weeks to months. So weeks to months, high. Next is medium. Tasks expected to take several days to few weeks. And low. Shorter tasks that can be completed in few hours to a couple of days. General design principles for cloud architecture. 1. Stop guessing your capacity needs. Emphasizes the flexibility of cloud computing to adjust capacity as needed, avoiding under or over provisioning. Test systems at production scale. So this one describes the cost-effective strategy of using cloud environments for large-scale testing without the overhead of maintaining the dedicated test infrastructure. Automate with experimentation. So this one highlights the benefit of automating in reducing manual effort, enabling easy replication and facilitating architectural adjustments. Fourth one, consider evolutionary architectures. So this one encourages adopting architectures that can evolve over time, leveraging the cloud's ability to easily implement and test changes. Drive architectures using data. So you should use data collected from the cloud to inform and refine architectural decision, optimizing workload performance. Sixth, improve through game days. So there are recommendations for regular simulation of production events to identify improvement areas and enhance organizational readiness. Okay, next, design principle of operational excellence. So we'll see all the 6 pillars and what are the design principles of each of them. So first one, perform operations as code. So this one says that you should emphasize applying engineering discipline to operations and defining workloads as code and automating procedures to reduce human error. Second is a design principle, make frequent small reversible changes. So you should create systems which are scalable, loosely coupled workloads to facilitate regular updates, minimizing impact and enabling quick reversal of failures. Third, define operations procedures frequently. So encourage regular reviews and updates of operation procedures based on their effectiveness and team familiarity. Anticipate failure. Suggest conducting pre-mortem exercises to identify and mitigate potential failures and regularly testing response procedures. Learn from all operational failures. So this is about importance of driving improvements through the lessons learned from operational events and sharing those lessons widely. Sixth, use managed services. So this one recommends that we should be using AWS managed services to reduce operational burden and building procedures around these services. Seventh, implement observability for actionable insights. So this is about the importance of understanding workload behavior through key process indicators, KPIs, and leveraging observability data for proactive improvements. Next, design principles of security. First, implement a strong identity foundation. So enforce the principle of least privilege and separate duties with appropriate authorization. Centralize identity management and minimize reliance on static credentials. Second, maintain traceability. Monitor and audit environment changes in real time. Use integrated log and metric collection for automatic investigation and action. Apply security at all layers. Use multiple security controls at every layer: network edge, VPC, instances, operating system, applications, and code for comprehensive protection. Automate security best practices. Use automated security mechanisms to scale security measures rapidly and cost effectively, implementing controls as version control code. Protect data in transit and at rest. Classify data by sensitivity and apply encryption, tokenization, and access control as needed. Keep people away from data. Limit direct data access and manual processing to reduce risk of mishandling or modification. Seventh, prepare for security events. Establish incident management policies and process, run simulations, and use automated tools for faster detection, investigation, and recovery. Next, design principles of reliability pillar. First, automatically recover from failure. Utilize monitoring for key process indicators, KPIs, to initiate automation for failure recovery, aiming for process that can remediate failures proactively. 2. Test recovery procedures. Emphasize testing in the cloud to validate recovery strategies. Use automation to simulate failures or recreate previous scenarios for improved preparedness. Third, scale horizontally to increase availability. Adopt a strategy of using multiple smaller resources rather than a single large one to mitigate the impact of failure on overall workload. Stop guessing capacity. Monitor and automate resource scaling based on actual demand, avoiding resource saturation and maintaining efficient levels without over or under provisioning. Fifth, manage change in automation. Implement changes to infrastructure through automation for consistency and traceability, including updates to the automation process themselves. Design principles of performance efficiency. First, democratize advanced technologies. So encourage utilizing cloud services for advanced technology needs, allowing your team to focus on development by leveraging services like NoSQL databases, media transcoding, and machine learning. So basically, to advocate or encourage advanced technologies. Second, go global in minutes. So the ability to deploy workloads globally in a few minutes to enhance customer experience and reduce latency. For example, utilizing multiple AWS regions. Use serverless architectures. So this one is about benefits of using serverless architectures in eliminating the operational burden of managing servers, emphasizing cost savings and operational efficiency for compute activities. Fourth, experimenting more often. Advocate for leveraging cloud resources to quickly test different configurations, instances, or storage solutions, facilitating innovation and optimization. Fifth, consider mechanical sympathy. Stress the importance of understanding how cloud services work and selecting technologies that best align with your workload requirements, considering factors like data access patterns. Okay, next one, design principles of cost optimization. First, implement cloud financial management. So the importance of investing in cloud financial management and cost optimization is a critical step in achieving financial success in the cloud. So building capacity through knowledge, programs, resources, and processes. 2. Adopt a consumption model. So highlight the cost savings of paying only for the required resources, using development and test environment as an example where non-usage can lead to significant cost reduction. Measure overall efficiency. So measure the business output versus the cost of delivery to understand gains from increased output and reduced cost. Stop spending on undifferentiated heavy lifting. So the benefits of AWS managing data center operations and managed services, which allows organizations to focus on their core businesses and projects, could result in a lot of undifferentiated heavy lifting. Fifth, analyze and attribute expenditure. So explain to the teams how the cloud simplifies accurate usage and cost identification, enabling transparent IT cost attribution to workload owners, measuring return on investment ROI, and resource optimization opportunities. Design principles of sustainability. First, understand your impact. Measure and model the impact of cloud workloads, including customer use and decommissioning. Use resources and emissions data to establish KPIs and evaluate productivity improvements. 2. Establish sustainability goals. Set long-term goals for reducing resources per transaction. Model ROI of sustainability improvements and plan for growth that reduces impact intensity. Third, maximize utilization. Right-size workloads and implement efficient design for high utilization and energy efficiency. Reduce idle resources to decrease energy requirements. Fourth, anticipate and adopt new technologies. Support improvements from partners and suppliers and monitor for efficient hardware and software to adopt rapidly. Use managed services. Share services to maximize resource utilization and reduce infrastructure needs. Utilize AWS managed services for efficient operation and impact minimization. Sixth, reduce downstream impact. Minimize the energy and resources required for service use. Reduce the necessity for device upgrades and understand the impact through testing with device farms and customer feedback. And that's all. Thanks for watching.